Now, this 18-year-old was involved in a car crash that he, was involved in, or whatever, whatnot. He killed two women and injured a child, or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if he was drunk or whatever, or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy as ever. You know what I'm saying? For real. Anyway, so, these ladies was like, um, age was like 41 and 81. You know what I'm saying? So this 18-year-old killed this woman and her mother and injured a 12-year-old that was sitting in the back of the car or whatever, whatnot. And they took it light on him or whatever, whatnot. You know what I mean? They didn't give him a life sentence or nothing like that. They didn't even charge him for child endangerment. They just what I'm saying, gave him a little 6 months to simple whatever whatnot. And that shit crazy as hell. And that's bro. Anyway. Yeah. Cop, actually start messing with this child up in Manhattan, no Manhattan, park or whatever whatnot, because she was selling fruit or whatever whatnot, and he tried to put handcuffs on her or whatever, and people was actually standing up for her or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? They was actually protecting this child from this cop or whatever, and this cop just actually trying to put all his weight on this little girl or whatever whatnot. His partners in none. You know what I'm saying? Even when they got him off her or whatever whatnot, he up there looking all stupid and stuff like, why didn't you help me? When they got her away from that dude. For real though. And that's bro. Anyway. Now, this trooper or whatever whatnot ended up messing with this 18-year-old or whatever whatnot. And she was actually complying with his orders or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, when shit, actually, what I'm saying, hit the fan or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? She was actually crying or whatever because he slammed her on the ground or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And she wanted, to call her mom or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And when he was put on hand in the back of your put your arm behind your back or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You just started punching her. He punched her once or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Shorty up there crying and stuff like that. She wanted to call her mom or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Dude wouldn't even let her call her mom. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude was up there just out of pocket for that shit. Real though. Especially he was obviously making fun of her, obviously just taunting her and all that shit or whatever whatnot. And she said what I'm saying, he's gonna be in her, but he just said, why shouldn't I hit you or whatever whatnot. And that's some crazy shit that's on, bro. Anyway, now these cops end up messing with this dude or whatever, you know what I mean? But it was a traffic stop and they was shooting or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually they just stopped this woman and then started talking to her in the back of the car or whatever whatnot. And that's it. But anyway, how that occurred or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy as ever. So and you know what I'm saying, he was talking or whatever and stuff like that. Just up there having that conversation or whatever about this trip stop or whatever whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Talking for hours and hours and hours. Then they start messing with this dude that was up in the car or whatever whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And like a baby was in the car too. You know what I'm saying? The baby was in the car. She was in the back seat or whatever when not. You know what I mean? But rather anyway, so yeah, I mean like after like you know he told dude to get out the car, dude came out with a blink. That started blinking at the like you know cops and shit. Pow, 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 pow. You know what I'm saying? Geraldo. Anyway, they started blinking back or whatever went on. And like he got hit in his leg or whatever went on. You know what I'm saying? He went around the pool, around the way or whatever went on. Around the police cars and all that. You know what I'm saying? Came from the back of the deputy, smacked him upside his head with the blink. Pow, 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 pow. Kept on smacking him upside his head. The other like you know cop just like you know blinked him down. You know what I'm saying? And he was like you know he was like you know actually hitting him with multiple shots. You know what I'm saying? Because like so they want to make sure that he was deceased or whatever. You know what I mean? Real though, they was like dang, like oh my goodness, that's some crazy stuff. Real though, anyway. So yeah, I'm like dang, that's like crazy. I don't even know what went down, you know what I'm saying? But for real though, it's just like, yeah, that was some crazy stuff. That was really crazy. For real though, I'm like, dang, what did I do? Like, shoot, I'm glad the shorty got out the way because, shoot, yeah, I mean, like, bullets, like, you know, like, just, like, you know, go anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Real though, I mean like shoot, that's on bro. Anyway, now this like you know person that was like you know just actually like got mad for no reason or whatever because a lady jogger said good morning to him or whatever whatnot. That's it. Dude went up in the school and he tried to like hit her. Was saying good morning to him. She said hello and good morning. For real though, that's what she said. But this dude took it as disrespect and he tried to like, you know, actually run her down in the school or whatever. That's it, for real though. But definitely he didn't like, you know, hit her or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And like the police got some because she called the police. He hid behind the on the side of the garbage can, and she like you know called the police or whatever whatnot because the dude was trying to take her life or whatever whatnot. You know what I mean? Bro, saying hello and good morning, like really though, come on now, and he's still in custody, and that's him, bro. Anyway, so these cops like you know actually like you know. Like crazy or whatever on this like you know 19-year-old or whatever because she was in a car crash or whatever but she didn't like crash into nobody. This was in the woods. She survived with her life for real though. I mean and then they started treating her like a criminal or whatever you know what I'm saying? That was some crazy shit, gang. I mean, like, I'm telling you, it's crazy as ever. Know what I mean? For real though. Anyway, so, they, like, you know, just grab her or whatever and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And, like, dude up there bending her arm and all that stuff, treating her like a suspect or whatever and whatnot. She didn't hurt nobody. She almost, like, you know, hurt herself. That's about it. But they treating it like she did it to somebody else or whatever whatnot. She was the like you know one that got hurt. Like that's some crazy shit, gang. I mean like shoot. They just like you know look at you like you a goddamn suspect for no goddamn reason and that's some crazy shit. They had a pocket for that shit and that's some bro. Anyway. So they like you know mess with this like you know 71-year-old man or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Dude was actually on this property just chilling. he like actually called the police or whatever. He was chilling on his property. Anyway, police just came at him recklessly. You know what I'm saying? For real though, they started the problem, and they wanted to actually diffuse the problem that they caused or whatever whatnot. They even got this canine on the dude or whatever. He was complying to everything they was saying, but they acted like he wasn't. And then they tried to find camera footage so they could use on him or whatever whatnot. And that's some crazy shit, gang. I mean, like, damn, they just wanna try to criminalize people just to criminalize people. And they out of pocket for that shit, and that's on bro. But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, hit the bell notification so you see my next upload and my next post, and to make sure I'm making no much tomorrow. And oh yeah, you can check out my previous videos if you like, gang. So long, farewell, goodbye.